Hi and welcome to week 42. This means that it is almost time for BioStock's flagship event, the BioStock Life Science Fall Summit, which we will be hosting here at Medicon Village in Lund next week, Wednesday and Thursday. So it's safe to say that we're all gearing up for this highlight of the BioStock year, and I am joined by our CEO, Jonas Söderström. So, Jonas, can you just tell us, what is the summit?
Of course, Summit is our flagship event. We do it every fall here in Medicon Village on our home turf, so to speak, in Lund. And I think it's a great platform for companies, developing companies, to meet investors and potential partners and other players in the ecosystem, basically. And looking forward to 2 really jam-packed days of lots of meetings and mingle and interesting presentations.
So looking at the reach, how many people will our event reach?
Yeah, it is an in-person event. And last year when we did this, we had about 400 people joining us over the 2 days. And obviously, you can only fit so many in a room, but we do record all the presentation, all the program points. So we had, I think, about 200,000 actual views of last year's recordings, which is a great number. And in terms of impressions then, which is one way to measure the total reach or total exposure that the companies that participate get, I think it was in the millions. So it's really, really good.
That's very nice figures.
Yeah.
And on my other side, I have my co-moderator for the event, Michael Jewett. So you and I will be on stage asking all the questions of the companies. At the moment, we have 31 presenting companies. So is there any company that gets you extra excited?
Well, first of all, I'm very much looking forward to the event. The whole lineup is actually quite exciting. But I'll be taking a closer look at Cereno Scientific. They're developing drugs for cardiovascular disease. And they recently announced positive phase 2 study results with their lead candidate CS1 in pulmonary arterial hypertension. So they'll be presenting that and more on the stage. And I'm also taking a look at Ultimovacs. They're a Norwegian biotech company. They're developing a universal cancer vaccine, UV1. And just this week, they announced positive survival data from their phase 2 trial with UV1. And this is a big deal, not only for the company itself, but also for the cancer vaccine field as a whole. So that's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to that. And how about you, Cecilia? What are you looking at?
I think I'll be looking out for Suxion. They've already had quite an exciting autumn where they've introduced a new strategy for their lead candidate in RA. They're aiming now for a slightly different patient segment than they did before, and they also have a rights issue coming up. So that'll be very interesting to hear. Then I'll be looking across the bridge here at the Danish Initiator Pharma. They've recently published positive phase 2b results with their candidate against erectile dysfunction. And they're also quite special. I mean, we all know that biotech, life science have had a really hard time for the, past year, or maybe even 2 years by now. But Initiator Pharma is actually up around 53% this year. So that's something else maybe to ask the CEO about.
Absolutely.
So, Jonas, then we have the 2 Ps, the panels and the pitches.
Yes, I actually have a copy, brand fresh copy of our program here. And looking into that, we have some really interesting stuff that we will share with the audience. And looking at the panels, then we've gathered some really brilliant industry experts in different relevant areas like clinical development, getting the strategy correct there, what to look out for, the pitfalls, and how to make sure that you can be successful in your clinical development. That's super interesting, both from company view and for investors, I think. And obviously, the ever-present issue of financing in a tough market climate like the one we have now. We've gathered some really, really good experts in, finding out what the trends are like, what alternative options are there to fund your projects in a tough market like this, and what are the implications for investors in such a tough market. That will be really interesting to hear. And I would also like to highlight the fact that we have big pharma in the house. So we have global BD representatives from Novo Nordisk and from Fadding Pharmaceuticals, who will, of course, then be talking about licensing deals and what to do to be attractive for big pharma. And that's going to be super interesting. And last but not least, I'm also looking forward very much to the quick pitches that we will have from a number of private companies. It's always interesting to see what's up and coming and, to see if you can find some future golden nuggets in there in the crowd. And I think that the big pharma people will also be have a keen eye out for them, I think. So
yeah, there's sure to be some interesting mingling in the breaks.
Yeah, that's the best part about in-person events, I think. And I think that's what many people feel is the greatest reason to be there in themselves. So, I mean, we have great reach through our recordings, but you can never compete with actual meeting over the coffee and talking to people. That's great.
So it promises to be a dynamic and exciting event with lots of mingling chances and chances to ask your questions of the company representatives. It's not too late to book your spot yet. We would love to see you there next week.